Hi, GRIL family. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone's summer ended well and back into our program year. Interesting fact about myself, I always view the new year starting in September. I don't ever look at January as the beginning of the year. Ever since I was a kid, September was, and I never grew out of that even after school and college and everything like that. I still view September as the beginning of the year. Wanted to do a short message today focusing on, there's a key verse today. It comes from, and I'm going to read it to make sure I get it correctly. It's 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. And it says, "Examine yourselves to see whether you are in faith. Test yourselves. Do you not realize that Christ Jesus is in you, unless, of course, you fail the test?" So the Apostle Paul is telling the members of this church in Corinth that they need to examine themselves, to look within. And I think that a lot of times in ministry, whether youth ministry, church ministry, what have you, we a lot of times we'll examine our program, we'll examine our ministry, we'll examine our participants, our members, the numbers, getting really deep into it. But we rarely take a step back and examine ourselves. And I think that that's something that we can't lose sight of. We have to continue to always examine ourselves to make sure that we are where we need to be. Something that people always talk about is purpose versus identity. And a character I think that really identifies with that identity aspect is Moses from the book of Exodus, who is the attributed author of the first 5 books of the Bible. He's one of the few characters that is a major hero in all 3 Abrahamic faiths. He gets so highly regarded as a hero, but this is a person that, to put it in today's terms, he didn't have a high opinion of himself. When he gets visited by in the burning bush scene, and he keeps telling, the Most High, I can't speak, I can't do this, I'm not the one, I'm not good with words, and who should I say sent me? He came up with every excuse that he could before accepting the mission. And I think that sometimes we can relate to Moses a little bit, where we start to make excuses for any and everything. And Moses' identity, though he was a Hebrew, and he knew that he was a Hebrew, and a lot of times when we get the story told of Moses, we have this opinion that he gets shocked then to find out that he's a Hebrew, but it seemed to be something that he always knew. But he wasn't a slave. So his identity was not wrapped up in the way that the other Israelites were at that time in Egypt. But his purpose was far greater. His purpose was to lead his people out of the oppressed land and into the promised land. And there's so much that can be said about that, and I don't want to get... Moses is one of my favorite characters. The first 5 books of the Bible are some of my favorite, and I don't want to get caught up in that. But back to examining ourselves, we have to examine our purpose and our identity. Are we walking in what we need to be walking in, or are we walking in what we think others think us to be walking in? Whether that's our parents or our mentors or the people that we serve, we feel that we have to be this person for them, or something else will happen. Now, one of my mother's favorite stories to tell is when the Messiah talks about these rocks will cry out, and she always says, "I won't let the rocks all praise me." We have to understand that we walk in our purpose and in our identity, because so many times we, especially in this political climate that we're in today, we kind of lose sight of that identity part, whether that's political, with conservative and liberal, or Democrat, Republican, and everything in between. And we say, well, I'm this person, then that. My favorite one is, I don't see color, I'm colorblind. That's not something that we should strive to be. We should be appreciating everyone's ethnic background, because there's history there, there's strength there, regardless of what it is. And we have, you have the backing of your ancestors to continue on this path that you are in. The Bible is very, very clear about ethnic backgrounds and the importance for each person. That's why everyone in the Bible, we know where they come from. We know what they are. There's no mysteries on what tribe or what country a person is from, because it's important. So we have to look at ourselves and examine ourselves to make sure that we are doing what we need to be doing, that we are where we need to be. We need to examine our ministries that we're in. We have board meetings to do that. There's people that look over financials and look over documents and look over all these different things to make sure the organization is where it needs to be. Examine the people that we are serving. On a micro level and a macro level. Is there a change that needs to be made? Is there a certain group that is not being met? One of my favorite things that I saw that GRIL do years ago when I was working with them is that they started to isolate and really target athletes, because athletes aren't the kids that usually get to be part of these programs because they're so busy with athletics, whether they're two-sport players or whether they are involved in so many different things. They don't get to do other after-school programs because there's always training or conditioning or practice or games or leagues and all these and tournaments and all these different things. And I said, these are the kids that we get the church kids, we get the kids that are socially awkward. You get all these kids that have all these other things going on. They have time to go to programs. The athletes don't, and I thought that was a huge win that GRIL did. So always examine ourselves. We're never a finished product. The book of Jeremiah says that the Most High is building us continuously until the end. So no one can look around and say, oh, I'm a finished product. This is exactly where we need to be. There's always a next level that we can be until we reach that end. Just wanted to do an encouraging short message here. Continue to examine yourselves each and every day to make sure and test yourself to make sure that you are where you need to be. You guys have a great day. Stay safe and be blessed. Bye.